Hey HDA and welcome back to Ixion. Last time around we designed these neatly organized sectors. They're not completely done because we haven't unlocked all the buildings yet, and honestly we're running out of building materials to build them anyway. As you can see, I have a lot of stuff on pause, but basically the plan is here. We just need to get the resources to actually build them. However, we cannot get those resources in this current chapter because basically we're running out of stuff. I mean, iron we have plenty of, but if you need to get it from all the corners of the map, it's not really efficient. And as you can see, my EVA airlocks are struggling to keep up with the repair of the hull. So let's get on to the next chapter.
Full jump complete. Running preliminary diagnostics. Expected irreversible damage to the Tycoon detected. We have not reached the exoplanet Remus. Tycoon primary sensors are picking up vast amounts of debris. Act with caution, Administrator. We must reach Remus.
Okay, so if you lost track after the last episode where we were mainly building and not really doing anything in terms of progressing the story, the thing that we're trying to do currently is chase the UN ship Etemenanki, I think it was called. Basically, that ship is supposed to be traveling to Remus, the planet that we're trying to find. But obviously, we did not find the planet. We did find a lot of debris. So something bad happened along the way, I'm guessing. And looking at the sector that we're currently at, it seems like a lot of bad weather. This seems similar to the bad weather that we had in the previous chapter, but that only was a very small portion. This looks, well, like a nightmare, honestly. But anyway, let's see what we can find first. Okie dokie, first things first, we're in a new chapter, so we know we'll be getting some more new science, and the real question is where are we going to go first? We still have a ton of upgrades to unlock, and I kind of want them all, but I think it makes sense to focus first on obtaining some of the buildings that we currently don't have access to. So the drone base specifically seems very interesting. That will allow us to move stuff very quickly between sectors. After that, maybe the train station to speed up the crew transfer. And if we have that, then we can actually get the health center that we can basically use to replace all the infirmaries and all our sectors. Or what we could do is build an exo fighting dome. That's a 2+2 stability in the sector, but you can extend this through a train station. So a +2 bonus to our entire sector sounds really, really good. Anyway, so first things first, we'll finish the photosensitive elimination solar panels upgrade, which basically means that all our solar panels will become cheaper. It's a pretty nice upgrade, and we still have a couple of those to go, so this will save us a lot of resource. And then after that, I think we'll go for the drone bay first, and then the train station after. Also, I'm very happy to report that there's a lot of iron very close by because we're going to need all of that in order to keep our ship alive. Now, it's worth noting that our hull integrity is way beyond what I expected it to be, mainly due to the fact that we have all those bonuses in the space sector that I actually underestimated how strong they were going to be. Where can we tell? We can see that over here. So we're repairing at a lot higher efficiency, and we have all these EVA airlocks. I'm pretty sure that we're not going to need this last one over here, so we can probably remove this and make this well, either build this and then remove one of the ones we have and replace it with a docking station instead, just to make sure we have more resources coming in. And yeah, let's actually just queue that up. So we're taking this one apart, so we can start building this one. So that should be nice, just to there's no loss in terms of resources by doing that. And I like having all my docking station at the bottom. It's a little bit more efficient as well because I have my stockpiles here, and then having 4 EVA repair centers over here on the top just makes it look good. We also have the destroyed command center over here right next to where we stopped, so let's see what we can find. Although the command center of Etemenanki is heavily armored, the structure has suffered terrible bombardment. It appears as if something sliced through the larger superstructure of the Etemenanki. This must have dislodged the center and separated it from the rest of the ship. Numerous pieces of debris and corpses float around the ruin. We have located a breach within the armor plating that should allow us to get inside. Well, more bad news basically. Let's enter the command center. In the meanwhile, it's worth noting that I try to optimize the ships that I currently have available a little bit. So there's 2 mining iron. Well, obviously there's no such thing as too much iron, especially in a game where your ship falls apart if you don't have enough of it. And then there's basically 1 ship that is going to find carbon whenever we can, and if we run out of that, find silicon. And then the other ship is going to actively mine water. We have 2 ships carrying in that water and 2 ships carrying in anything that is alloy related, and then the other 2 cargo ships are going to bring in the resources that are less vital. We do want to bring that in, but just 1 ship each is sufficient, I think. Now I do want to add in that additional docking station, and what I'm thinking we should be doing is add in 1 more miner. Not entirely sure yet what it is going to mine. Probably a mix of water and hydrogen, maybe? I don't know. And then we have 2 more of these cargo ships, probably 1 carrying in iron. There's no such thing as getting in enough iron, and then the other one can just pick up whatever we have left over. Well, this is interesting. Apparently a sector has converted to the cult of the hull. This has had a positive impact on the morale of the crew. The converts are waiting to hear your opinion on their worship. Well, cults are never a bad thing, right? That can't go wrong in any way, so let's just say yay, cults! Now, if you remember from last episode, we have quite a few things queued up that we're not currently building. I'm going to be really careful to first build up a decent stockpile of materials before I actually start unpausing a lot of these builds, unless we really need something. The main reason being that I'm expecting we'll have to build something in these zones quite quickly due to events happening, and I just want to make sure we can actually do that and not lose the game in the process. Well, we're on the command center's bridge, and apparently there's projectile damage, severed corpses, and commanders that took their own lives. So all in all, not the prettiest sight. We must retrieve the Remus data, and we should keep the Tycoon in close proximity to the command center. Well, it's already there, so I guess we'll be fine for now. I'm guessing we're going to, get an option to retrieve the data. That's going to take another 4 cycles, so that's awesome. It gives us a little bit of time to explore the rest of the area. And speaking of events, I just discovered a new one here, and the nice thing is of having 2 science ships is that we can really quickly go and grab this science while we're still working on the other events, and then just make sure we progress through all of that as quickly as possible, so we know what we need to do, but we also get any hidden technologies and resources that we might want to use as quickly as possible. In the meanwhile, we have little events popping up that typically just give you a small trust bonus or lack thereof if you make the wrong choice. I'm skipping most of those because they're not that interesting. This one I think is kind of interesting because we adopted a couple of the people from the Itamananki and the Protagoras on our ship, and apparently they are now getting themselves into trouble, and they're asking for me to transfer 100 crew members from one sector to another to address this. I'm actually going to do this. I don't think it will give anything other than a trust bonus, but it's a nice little story type of thing happening. Okay, so we explored the command center a little bit further. This is a very long story, but the short version of that is that the Black Market Society actually attacked Itamananki and stole the resources, or sorry, the coordinates from Remus, the planet that we're trying to find. So now rather than needing to get those coordinates from one enemy, we are going to need to find another more dangerous enemy on a ship called the Piranesi, in order to get those coordinates. So that's going to be a lot of fun, but luckily we also found the locations of other parts of the Itamananki to help us find the other ship. Now we have another option to see what we want to investigate further, so either into the Piranesi's attack or about Itamananki's previous mission objectives. Honestly, this is probably the smarter option just from a logical standpoint point of view, but I actually want to find out what Itamananki itself was trying to do, because it feels like they were trying to do something that was similar to what we are trying to achieve. So maybe we were not on opposite side of things anyway. Let's find out. Speaking of finding things out, in the ruins of the food district, we have so many options to do stuff. There is a vegetal zone, there's an animal pen that we can explore. There's also a self-contained area that we expect might contain a few people. that we can either cautiously approach or invasively breach. Now, that is probably not going to be a good idea, as we found out in some of the previous episodes, but I actually want to do this first. If this is going to give us a bonus to our main production of food, which is the crop farms, maybe that will give us a bonus, maybe not, I don't know, but let's find out. It seems like the worthy pick to go for first. Okay, so this is interesting. I just got a little pop-up that people were not happy about all the floating corpses outside of our station, and apparently that turned into a negative buff, a corpse field that will affect morale. So that's interesting. I actually don't see it here. So honestly, I'm not entirely sure what it is doing, but apparently it's a bad thing, and I can imagine that. So it seems I was sort of right. They were actually trying to find other exoplanets as well on the Atamananki. They were just really bad at doing so, so they figured why not invade the Protagoras and steal the information instead. Getting 50 signs from a result is also really nice. That will allow us to get some more research done. And as a bonus, we can actually investigate further into the Pyrenees' attack as well. So yeah, let's go and do that as well. Oh man, I love it when I metagame a little bit and I guess right. So we did actually unlock a crop farm upgrade from pursuing this particular line of exploration. And yeah, that's going to be nice. And we actually have a ton of stuff we can pick up from this particular sector on top of that. So all in all, I think this is a very good yield for our work. And what's interesting is that we can actually still explore the other things as well, so let's just go with the animal pens first before we start approaching the area of the ship where bad stuff might be happening. Let's see what the thing actually does. It's a massive upgrade to the food production speed, 40%. That's massive. We can't actually research it just yet. We just need to research the industrial enzymes first. But yeah, crop farms producing at a 40% speed, that's massive. And in the meanwhile, I'm building up a decent stockpile of materials once again, so I'm going to unpause a couple of these buildings and slowly start filling in the layout that we already have, focusing a little bit on batteries first, just in case we want to actually move our giant station. And it's ironic that the moment I say that my power overloads, the reason for that is actually that I just completed the docking station over here. So let's see, we should probably turn something off. Let's pause the game for a moment and see what that should be. Okay, so I just turned off a few of the stockpiles that we're not really using at the moment, but this does mean that we definitely need some more power if we want everything to stay up and running. And since we now have a docking station, I'm actually thinking maybe we should build a science ship first, mainly because we have a lot of science stuff to do at the moment, and we can always just scrap the ship and place something else. I do want to make sure I build a cargo ship after that, and then maybe the last one is going to go a mining ship or a cargo ship, not entirely sure yet, but let's start with the science ship first. Okay, so it seems that the Atamananki was actually able to fight off the Pyrenees, basically boarding their ship while they were firing on the Atamananki instead. I guess in the end the Pyrenees did win, because everyone who was left on the Atamananki actually died, but still, I like the fact that they were able to find a flaw in the Pyrenees defense system, so maybe we can use that whenever we encounter them, because that is going to happen, I guess? Which means we now left the last little bit of ruins behind us and we can steer our science ship somewhere else after, of course, we gather all that delicious science that is waiting for us here. Speaking of delicious and science, the animal pen actually was producing rare meats, so that's interesting. And we apparently found a cryopad containing a dog. The owner seems to have decided that the animal's life was more important than their own. Their corpse hangs onto the pod. That's real dog lovers, I guess. More importantly, we get a lot of cryopods from that, along with some nice science. Okay, you've got to be kidding me. We actually have a special assignment that we can take to provide a new home for the dog and basically bring it on board the space station. Now, if this is going to be a bad event, then I'm going to be really, really angry. Wow, okay, so the next few main quests are pretty impressive. Not only do we need to awaken 2,000 cryonic pods, so that's more than doubling the population that we currently have. We also need to store 500 ice. Well, I guess we're going to need that ice to feed all these people. We also need to prepare for the Pyrenees, that makes sense, but in order to do that, apparently we need to build enough batteries so that at least 4 sectors will have backup power for 5 cycles. That is a lot of batteries. Luckily, we do have some things we can research to unlock larger batteries as well as improve the batteries. So I really hope that's going to be enough. So, I guess we know what we're researching next. Increasing the battery power capacity as well as doing a couple of these other things like unlocking the larger tier of batteries will probably be a very good idea in order to make sure we can actually meet those criteria. Well, RPA doesn't agree with us, but they do agree at least that the animal's presence may be good for crew morale. So, apparently you get an achievement for that, and other than that, let's make a cautious approach towards the self-contained area. We've also arrived at the ruined industrial zone. This is another leftover of the Itimananki. The view is intriguing. In addition to the general debris and the bodies that float everywhere, as always, there are large piles of previously molten materials that have solidified where the area was exposed to the vacuum of space. The zone has been ripped open and much of the interior appears to have been blown away. The structural tear extends to the storage area full of suspended yellow particles. Interesting. Let's see, we can either scout in hope of finding cryopods and learning more about the ship's production capabilities, or we can investigate the storage area, or we can look for the source of the yellow particles. This is really, really tempting. It's interesting that this is actually the largest time to complete as well. Well, we're going to do... Well, we definitely want to know what the yellow particles is. I'm not entirely sure this is where we should start. It feels like kind of a red herring, but let's do it anyway. Now, it's interesting that not only are there a lot of materials in this danger zone over here, there's also some events here. Not entirely sure if it's going to be a good idea to fly my ships into there, but again, I want to know what's over there, so I'm going to try it anyway. I don't know, but apparently this is the dog episode? I don't know, but apparently we found inconsistencies with a crew member's DLS records. Apparently it's a dog. Again, it seems to be proving extremely beneficial for crew morale. I think whoever made this game is a dog person. Anyway, we need to do something about that. So if you're not a dog person, you can respect sanitary protocols, and I'm guessing that means we just toss it out the airlock. I don't know, but of course we're going to recognize the dog as a member of the crew. Wow, a stability bonus of +1 permanently? That is a massive bonus. Well, again, dog person apparently. Meanwhile, at the planet Croc P42, we can probably establish some sort of colony. Now, we do already have 60 colonists ready to go. We also have, I think, plenty of food, as well as plenty of alloy, so why not just take it big as usual? We also have that additional cargo ship that we built, so we can actually use that to ferry back and forth these resources. It's actually going to take a while, because this is 9 complete trips for that colony, for that cargo ship in order to actually get all those people and all these materials to this particular space. So this is going to take us a while, so it's a good thing that we're starting this early. Now, I'm really excited about getting all these other upgrades, but honestly, we're bottlenecked by power a little bit at the moment. So just making sure we upgrade the power, the solar panels that we already have, seems like a smart idea. Now, honestly, I know we researched the nuclear power plant. The problem with this is that I did the math, and it's actually going to be quite challenging to keep this running for long enough, basically for the entire duration of this level, based on the amount of hydrogen we have currently discovered. I'm not entirely sure if I'm just being too cautious, but having your power plant turn off at the wrong moment is going to be a disaster. So if we can manage with solar panels, I would prefer to do that as long as we can. Well then, even though we approach the self-contained area in a cautious way, we still got 2 people killed. That's a shame. I might be going crazy, but I'm pretty sure the storm was further away earlier, and now it's right on top of all of these resource nodes. Is this thing moving? I mean, that's going to be very, very bad. And if that is the case, we might have to move the Tycoon through the storm, and then having the self-cleaning systems upgrade is going to be very beneficial. So I'm actually really happy that we're currently trying to upgrade our power over here, because that's actually exactly what we need in order to unlock this upgrade as well. The good thing is, if this storm is actually going to move a lot, we might be able to reach all of these wreckage things that we found from the Atimananki that I don't really want to send my ships in here. Although there are some juicy science things over here, and 4 events, that's a lot of potential resources right there. I guess we have our work cut out for us in the next episode. I also need to, unthaw about 1960 more people, find a way to actually feed them, and yeah, all in all, that seems like a lot of fun. Honestly, having 2,000 more people in our ship is going to produce a lot of waste as well. I just have no idea how we're going to power all of this, so we're going to need a lot of more resources. Yeah, coming right back to the notion of having our work cut out for us. At least I do really like the story of this particular chapter. Exploring all the wreckage of our previously known enemy. And turns out we have another enemy flying out there, but okay. It's really fun, and if we're actually going to have to get past this giant storm over here, that's going to be a whole challenge in itself. So, I look forward to the next episode. If you're still here, I hope you do too, and I hope to catch you in the next one.